Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to episode 145 of Folks Talking Sports. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. And with me are my colleagues Willy Gibson, Kennetra Pulliams, and Adolphus AD Moore. Ladies first, of course. KP, how are you doing?
I'm good, Kris. How are you guys doing?
Brother Gibson, how are you?
All is well, brother. How about yourself?
Doing well. And Mr. Moore, thank you for joining us this evening, sir.
Hey, man, it's too hot. I might as well be inside, man. Come on, it's hot.
Well, that is true. Brother Gibson, how hot is it in Cleveland, in Ohio?
I was waiting on it. I knew that was coming. It's 74 right now.
Say, man,
74.
you know what? Really, I really don't care to even, just be quiet, Will. Come on.
What is it there?
74 degrees, huh?
It's about
At what point?
95, 94, something like that.
No,
We don't even get 74 for the low.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just got
Yeah, that's
off the
true,
car.
KP. It's the lows now, probably around 78
Wow.
overnight. So yeah.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No, did it make 78 this morning? Because I just got out the car and it danced on 101 and then it moved back down to 98. So I'm going like, okay.
Let's see.
But-
Wednesday, the hottest day of the year so far was Wednesday. It was 87.
Oh yeah, we left that in March.
Yeah.
But not too complicated. Thank you for being the first to chime in with your jokes. Thank you. Appreciate that as always. And of course, the queen supporter of the Houston Roundball Review, Miss Wanda Polk. Thank you as well. Colleagues. For a moment or two or three, indulge me. I'm going to share some news. I teased this on Thursday's Houston Roundball Review takeover that I might mention it. And lo and behold, with the announcement of Coach Kelvin Sampson's new contract salary announcement being made public by Joseph Duarte from the Chronicle, put this slide up. Coach Sampson has a raise, 4 years, $23 million total, 5.5 this season, next season, then followed by $6 million 2 years after that. Makes him the 8th highest paid coach nationally. Bill Self, number 1, John Calipari, number 2, Dan Hurley, 3, Tom Izzo, 4, Mick Cronin, 5, Bruce Pearl, 6, Rick Barnes, 7, Kelvin Sampson, 8. Colleagues, Miss Wanda, not too complicated. My announcement teaser is Kelvin Sampson. Let me see if I can do this. I want everybody to see my face when I say this. So give me one moment. We all know what show this is, but I want everyone to see me when I say this. So give me 1 second. Complicated is going to make fun of me for doing these kind of things. But all right. The Houston Cougars men's basketball team on the 25-26 schedule will face 4 of these coaches. Bill Self, it's obvious. Kansas as a Big 12 opponent. Rick Barnes, Tennessee, will be in Las Vegas at the Players Era Festival. Auburn, Coach Pearl, will be the second of the head-to-head series started last year. First game was at Toyota Center. This season game will be in Birmingham in part of the United Sports and Entertainment Battleground 2K event. That should take place in November. Anybody care to guess who the 4th coach is before I say it?
I'm a Big Ten guy. Tom Izzo.
KP?
Hurley.
Mr. Moore?
Calipari.
You are correct, sir. You are correct. The Houston Cougars will be facing Arkansas in December.
Is that the Big 12 SEC challenge?
That no longer exists. So it no longer exists. But ironically, like I said, look who's going to face Arkansas, Auburn, and Tennessee. So it's 3 SEC teams. But that is part of the announcement, is that right there. So you see all that? There we go. That's all I'm looking for right there. So let me see if the comment is there. And I have a little bit of more information. Complicated was wrong on his guess also. But I was told this a little while ago. I teased it on our Let's Rage Coogs show, that Coach Sampson mentioned that it was an opponent taking place in the Northeast, that the game would take place in the Northeast. Folks thought it was going to be UConn. I said no to that. I squashed it early. And then I let hint out there that it was going to take place in the Northeast. Not necessarily the opponent would be a Northeast opponent. So that's where we are there. Now, moving the slides and doing the thing right here for all of us. Putting a few things together. The date is in December, most likely a Saturday. I was told the venues were a few options. One was the Barclays Center. But the date that I know was told to me, there is already scheduled a women's doubleheader at the Barclays Center involving UConn, Tennessee, Louisville, and I think Iowa. So it's not there. It's not going to be apparently the Prudential Center in Newark. So, what well-known venue,
The Garden.
famous venue is in the Northeast?
Madison Square Garden.
The Madison Square Garden, yes. Arkansas, Houston, Madison Square Garden. I'm waiting for confirmation from the organizers. I think I have a pretty good idea of what the event will be based on previous years. It looks like the matchup will be part of the Gotham Classic. It takes place. It has taken place in December previous years around the third weekend of December. All right. Some of those matchups took place at MSG. Others took place at Prudential Center. Last year was at Barclays Center. But this year's matchup, Coogs, Arkansas, MSG, Madison Square Garden. I think, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's going to be December 20th, Saturday. The Cougs' other Saturdays in December have already occupied with non-conference opponents, including one at Toyota Center. So check that out as well. So when you folks, Miss Wanda, you haven't commented yet. But yes, going back to it, I thought it was ironic looking at this slide. Source of the Chronicle. The eight highest paid coaches in men's college basketball. And the Cougs are going to face 4 of them. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, this would be a great tie-in for me to just go ahead and announce who the Cougs are going to be playing, part of the non-conference schedule. Tennessee in Vegas, Auburn in Birmingham, and Arkansas at Madison Square Garden. What are your thoughts on that? Anyone? Don't be shy.
Okay, the Garden. I mean, the Garden. Let me get my New York accent. The Garden was probably gonna be ideal.
Isn't that more Boston accent right there? You said it right there.
Yeah, well, same way, Boston Garden, or the Garden. Come on, what's the difference? I mean, what is this? It's a train ride from Boston to New York anyway. But anyway,
AD, if you said that, you ask folks in Boston, what's the difference between Boston and New York? They'll start a fight.
Well, good. They can fight. They can fight each other all up in the by 95 for all I care. But anyway, no, I think the venue in itself. I mean, that's the ideal matchup. And for some of these kids who, I'm being respectful when I say kids, because for them to get a chance to play in that hallowed ground, being Madison Square Garden. I mean, let's think about all the other indoor arenas that when you start talking about, you're not playing in Yankee Stadium, you're not playing in Boston, where the Red Sox play. So when you come down to an inside venue, others say maybe in Detroit, the inside venue, obviously the Garden starts at the top of your head, man. So I mean, for those kids, I think it's a crown jewel because some of them not. I mean, obviously, all of them are not going to be playing professional basketball. So this is going to be probably their opportunity to get a chance to say I played in the Garden, and they can have something to tell their grandkids.
KP.
I mean, okay, it's the Garden. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is. Okay, it's the Garden.
See, she speaks of someone who's covered Kansas basketball for years, a blue blood.
And
she's like Will,
I mean, they're playing Duke in the Garden this year.
Right.
So
Will?
yeah. So
yeah.
And the Big East tournament is always to me, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I'm kind of split between AD and KP on this one. You hear NBA players from LeBron to the 15th man on the Thunder talk about the best arena to play in is MSG, and so from that perspective, as a college athlete, to play at a hallowed arena such as MSG is great, but I mean, it's a game. I mean, I get it. I understand, but yeah, it's a game. It's a game.
Yeah, but wait, hold up, wait a minute. Where was it? And correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it not the Garden where John Thompson came and had the matching sweaters with St. John?
Luke Carnesecca.
Carnesecca, wasn't it? That was the Garden, right?
Or it may have been the Capitol Center, maybe the Georgetown home game. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember which.
I'm just trying to remember.
Was it the 30 for 30 Requiem of the Big East?
Yeah, because I mean,
AD, lean forward, man. The shadow's blocking you.
Oh, okay. There we go. Now, I mean, KP, and I understand what you're saying because the Big East tournament. I mean, obviously, I grew up. Just grew up. Ooh, boy. Anyway, having matriculated and watched the Big East tournament from the Big East onset to now, I mean, those kids are used to those type of venues. But for kids coming out of this area and having the fact that to play in the Garden and they won't be playing, the majority of them will not be playing as professionals. And when those kids on the Big East, that's just a common occurrence. That's like playing in the Ruck Arena up there in New York on those hallowed grounds of playing outdoor basketball. So I take it for what it's worth. Now
I'll be kind of curious for the youngsters' response to it.
Yeah,
regarding if they've never played there or whatever. Like, okay, I know the Big East tournament is there. I know that. Okay, I'm just looking forward to it, kind of thing. They're not. I mean, it's not something they've ever done before. They're not used to being the world's greatest, most famous arena kind of thing. But I know Cougar alums are excited about Houston Cougars being at MSG, and Coug Nation. I'd have to check about this part of have they ever played at MSG. I'm not sure. But my thing was in terms of ticket sales, how would ticket sales be? Coug Nation. I mean, how many Cougar alums are in the Northeast? How many Cougar alums are in New York? Coach Cal is a Hall of Famer. So how would ticket sales be? I mean, he's Coach Cal. So, that kind of thing. The matchup should be a great matchup. To me, it's also another example, another indication of how far Houston Cougars men's basketball has come to be invited to participate in a neutral site event like this one, squaring off against a Hall of Fame coach, a program in Arkansas that has won a national championship. Now they have Coach Cal trying to restore that glory of the 40 minutes of hell under Coach Nolan Richardson. So that part of it, I'm in. That's what I'm impressed with, and toss it out there. Me and the Less Rage Coogs crew would love to be doing a game there, doing a post-game show after that matchup. It's right around the holidays, so if money's right, we can be up there. That'd be a real feather in our caps as well for doing that. to be able to do a post-game show from MSG. So that's something that we would love to accomplish as well. Mr. Moore, when you say majority won't be playing in the NBA, we're talking about more than the Rockets. I'm not sure about that one, complicated. Will this be CKS's most, as in Coach Sampson's most difficult schedule since being at UH? I've said it on previous shows on the takeover. It's a good balance. There are some elite matchups in the non-conference schedule, but there are also some, I'm going to be kind. KP, I'm going to be kind. Not so elite matchups on this non-conference schedule.
Some gimmies.
Some bye games, can we say, kind of, so it's a balance. Yeah. And I think the majority of the bye games will take place at home. The elite matchups will take place neutral site. So that might bother some UH fans. Well, how come they can't get so-and-so to come play us at home? Because they don't want to. They don't want to deal with the loud, raucous crowd and the home court advantage. So the Cougs got to go neutral site for these matchups. And of course, the reason for. Go ahead. What do you want to say, KP?
Toyota Center.
Well, in the one matchup at Toyota Center, the opponent is not elite, but they're not a bye game. They're a Power 4 conference member. They're just no longer an elite program, trying to get back on the rise to being an elite college basketball program. Just put it like that. I'm not sure who the organizers are behind that one yet, but I have a good idea who that team is. So, and it's okay. I mean,
what's going to be interesting to me, Kris, is because this is playing at the Garden, MSG. Who's going to have the floor seats? Who the personalities is going to be sitting? Who will Spike Lee be sitting on? Who will be sitting in the seat that normally Spike Lee be sitting in? No.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sidebar issue. But it's folks say, and I realize Will and KP, hey, y'all been in and out. But for folks on this end of the country, come on.
I mean, it also depends on, is this a double header? Is this who were the other teams making up the Gotham Classic?
Last year, it was just one game, Gotham Classic. Couple of times it's been a double hitter.
See, so that would be like the Champions Classic,
right.
At the because you get Duke, Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky, and then you just rotate, but it's always a double header.
Yeah, same thing last year. Buckeyes played at MSG was Ohio State, Kentucky. The first game was North Carolina, UCLA.
Yeah. That's another thing I'm trying to get confirmed for me is if it's a standalone or a double hitter, because I think that's going to make a difference in terms of ticket sales as well. If there's a double hitter, like if Duke is part of the other game, something like that. Because honestly, I don't see a Houston-Arkansas matchup in New York drawing a lot of interest. In New York. Mm-hmm. So time will tell. But Complicated brings up, I'm going to be picky with you here, Complicated. More than half of the Cougs roster could be in the NBA. Let me see. Kris Sanak, Isaiah Harwell, Kingston Flemings, those three for sure. Probably Milos Uzan, that's 4. And those four I'm certain of. Bryce Jackson, if he gets healthy and regains his form when he was the best player in the state from 3 years ago, maybe. But
when will U of H release their full non-conference schedule?
Good question. Waiting to hear. One thing is the Players Era Festival folks got to receive all the contracts, make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So what I said this evening, I probably shouldn't say it publicly.
Because apples to apples, KU's playing in Players Era. Their non-con is out.
Right. Well, KU is KU. and my alma mater is my alma mater. I'll just put it like that.
Coogs,
I have put in. I asked the question of when will it be announced, and the answer was we're not sure yet. And that's when I was like, well, I'm not going to wait and sit on this information about Arkansas much longer. I can't wait. I'm gonna wait as long as I decided to. So, but I didn't say the date, but I gave you a pretty good idea when it's going to be. Yeah. December, Christmas Saturday, third Saturday, December. So, I mean, okay.
Is that okay? That's still NFL regular season.
Oh, very much so. That's when they start flipping games too. Yep. Yeah, that's all depending on who's wrapped up certain things. That's when they start flipping games around, and because the irony of, I'm looking up here at the Texans schedule, and I know we'll get to that, but the last two games of the Texans schedule is TBA. Everything else has already got date, times, and everything. Those last two games are to be determined.
And see, got a reply from a Cougar in Germany. Appreciate you and always for your support of this channel. And I think, like I said, the selling point of the matchup in the MSG, Coach Cal, initially, I'm not sure. If it's a standalone game, I don't know how it's going to do well for our ticket sales. I just don't see it. Now, Houston, Arkansas, back in the day when they were bitter rivals in the Southwest Conference, they could have played those games anywhere in Texas or Arkansas and they've been sold out. But that was a long time ago. But shifting gears now, I have not, as far as I know, Miss Wanda and Houston Cougars, Germany, the Houston Cougars, AD, Eddie Nunez, has not sent out a statement regarding the House settlement being approved. Or if so, I did not get it. Like I got regarding baseball statement and reason why they kept coach waiting for one more year, all that kind of stuff. But got a statement from the Rice AD, Tommy McClelland, and he said some interesting things. Well, not really. It's just chalk. So let me get it right here. Do this correctly. There we go. The approved settlement of House versus NCAA officially marks a new era in college athletics, as universities are now permitted to provide additional financial support to student assets in the form of revenue sharing and scholarship increases. Over the past year, Rice University leadership has diligently planned and prepared for this transformative moment. Rice is uniquely equipped to lead in this evolving environment while maintaining our unwavering commitment, KP, to recruiting, retaining, and graduating student assets who value academic and competitive excellence at a world-class university. Mr. Moore, our dedication to the holistic development of every student asset, fostering their academic success, athletic growth, and preparation for life beyond their sport remains stronger than ever. We look forward to navigating this new chapter with integrity, innovation, and an enduring focus on the success of our student assets. End quote. And of course, the quote from Mr. McClelland is student athletes. I say student assets because that's what they are. But anyone want to comment on that statement from the AD?
Well, at least it's not the statement from the Secretary of Education, and that god-awful piece of crap that they put out about a week ago in reference to Harvard. But let's get real about this, folks. We talking about dollars and cents. Kris, I know that I know you said, and maybe maybe because all of us collectively are maybe a little bit jaded behind what we saw the real deal, but in far as Rice is concerned, Rice is a private institution, and they're going to probably have more kids want to go there, come out with their education. Not to say that no kids don't want that Kansas or the Ohio State or any of the other places, but we understand who pays the bill. Okay, it's football, it's basketball, pays the bill for everything else. and not everybody else's NIL, including that young lady that pitched all those games for Texas Tech during the softball World Series. You know, and you know if I'm not mistaken, I think she might be had the highest NIL at Texas Tech for the moment. But you know, the fact that this is dollars and cents. This is Star Wars starting with dollar signs. That's all this is. This is Star Wars with dollar signs. So
Will?
Yeah. Let me ask this. Student assets. Are they still student assets that they're getting paid? I'm just asking.
You mean on the table? You mean
now
on
be
the
the highest
table?
bidder will pay them. So yes, to go to the highest bidder.
You mean on the table now, Will?
You said that. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, what do I think of his statement, or what do I think about the decision of
both? Because we're going to get into what I got more slides about the actual ruling for details as well. So
yeah,
go ahead.
Tommy McClelland probably, and I don't know Tommy McClelland, never spoke with him, but seems to have a good PR person. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? I mean,
no, that's fair.
I mean,
somebody crafted a great statement. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, they crafted a great statement. I mean, what was I didn't expect anything else. What was that?
KP?
That was pretty much on par for what was expected.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like it's essentially burying the lead. Like, we knew this was coming, so it's not like it didn't catch anybody by surprise. The only surprise was it took this long.
Yes. Now I will say this. I think AD might know him. Bill Cousins used to be the Rice Owls media director.
Correct.
And when I first started covering Rice 25 years ago, Rice Athletics, he since went on to Houston Christian. He's retired now, but he posted on Facebook, and this is news to I'm here, news to me. Apparently, the Chronicle listed Tommy McClelland's name as Tommy McDonald in the paper. And Bill Cousins reached out to the sports editor, writer as well. And the answer he was given was, it's a typo. McClelland McDonald is not a typo. Okay, that's not a typo. And the press release from Rice, the subject of the press release, states plainly, statement from Tommy McClelland. Okay, so I don't know where McDonald came from the Chronicle, but that's, you know.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that Tommy McDonald, that might have been a Rice alum, one of their players, if my history serves me correctly, Kris. But then whoever at that person at the Chronicle probably couldn't even go back to Rice's in their history and find anything about Tommy McDonald. So I don't. Let's put it like this: those aren't the same editors doing the script, doing the checking and double checking before that thing was posted. That, I think it's like everything else, man. Folks trying to be the first one out. Yeah, I'd rather be right than be first about something, and have it. And since you're the only paper in the fourth largest city, and you make I'm not gonna call it a horrific error, but you make that type of error, and you got a release from that university, and you still can't get it right. Tell you what, maybe we can go dig up the Houston Press or the Houston Post again.
Well, y'all know how I feel about the lack of support given to Houston media, the Houston Roundball Review being one, because I know for certain the last 3-4 days, I'm the only outlet to discuss Rice athletics, the basketball signings. They got a new collective, Will. Rice announced a collective, the South Main Fund. I discussed that on Thursday. I discussed Jared Dillard should be in the College Football Hall of Fame on Thursday. So it doesn't take a long list, not a long roll call of media in Houston that discusses Rice athletics. I also mentioned Rice women's team is overseas in Italy and Greece for their foreign tour. Just putting it out there for anybody upset about Rice's being ignored or treated shabbily. Well, y'all can toss that money over here to Houston Roundball Review. But anyway, now here we go. The fun stuff. Money. Federal judge approves House versus NCAA settlement, allowing college athlete pay. This is from Amanda Kristovich, Front Office Sports. I'd like to give her flowers because she is the lone national writer to give me my flowers when I was the one to had the interview with the Big 12 Vice President of Basketball, and he had some breaking information in the interview, and she gave me credit for it nationally, so I'm going to return the favor. Always. The settlement will offer $2.8 billion in damages, as well as allow all D1 schools to offer up to $20.5 million to all the current players in their athletic departments, a number that increases incrementally over 10 years. During a lifetime of the injunctive relief, schools must offer money to all sports, though they don't have to offer equitable amounts. The Trump-led Department of Education has said that revenue-sharing payments would not be subject to Title IX. Going forward, there will also be no limits on scholarships, with roster limits replacing them. Let's stop right there. Any thoughts on that? Title IX, KP.
Lawsuit.
Payments.
Lawsuit.
No doubt. There's going to be lawsuits. Just starting July 1st, it's going to be lawsuits. Will?
Absolutely. Same. I mean, how can it not? How can it not be?
KP, go in more. Elaborate.
I mean, how can you say it's not subject to adherence to Title IX guidelines?
Because this came from that same Department of Education who is supposed to be dissolving itself. This came from that same Department of Education that's probably trying to, I don't know, basically, they're basically telling you Title IX. What is Title IX? Because this is the same department that's trying to eat itself up. This is the same Department of Education that's basically going eating itself up and saying there will be no more DEI, quote unquote, in parentheses. So why are we even surprised about this being, especially coming out of this administration? Okay, I'm not.
All right, back at it. NIL collectives will face more scrutiny with deals they offer players. The settlement sets up a clearinghouse to check whether NIL collective deals appear to be quote-unquote fair market value instead of quote-unquote pay for play deals. That part. That's more lawsuits. The clearinghouse is run through software created by Deloitte with the opportunity for appeal to an independent body. The most controversial part of the settlement was roster limits. Hundreds of current college athletes and prospective athletes in high school lost roster spots they were promised for the upcoming school year. After flooding the court with objections and raising awareness on social media, they succeeded in swaying Judge Claudia Wilkin to demand that the settlement guarantee no athletes would lose roster spots as a result of the proposal's implementation. The party submitted a solution 2 weeks later that allows schools to give players their roster spots back, but did not require that they do so. Judge Wilkin stated that this solution was satisfactory. She added that schools should not be forced to return roster spots because, as the NCAA had noted, quote, roster spots aren't guaranteed, end quote. Thoughts on that before I get back to more slides? Anyone? Roster limits, no scholarships, anything.
Again, like how do you make it equitable? You know, I mean, and I'm not even talking about Title IX, but like, for instance, schools that don't have a football team, So like how is that money going to be allocated? And then if everybody gets the same pool of money, but some have to fund a football program and others don't.
Like Big East schools?
I mean, but UConn has football.
Big East schools beside UConn.
Yeah. But I mean, like, or let's take into account those who have equestrian teams or rowing teams or gymnastics. Like every university they don't have the same programs. Lacrosse, lacrosse is big in the Northeast, or you look at, let's take men's soccer, Final Four. Ohio State was in it. Okay. But then you have Denver and you have Vermont. So like what happens to those athletes?
First,
the 36 sports that Ohio State has.
Yeah. How's that going to work, Will?
This is going to be interesting.
Ross Bjork has been creative. He jumped on it from the beginning. We talked about it here. The Buckeye Club, some things, a membership-based access to a club on Ohio State football game days, as well as a social membership that would give you access to the club on non-game days. He's come up with some things that are going to be very, very interesting to kind of go in along with the $20.5 million that the lawsuit allocates. He's come up with some different things that are trying to fill in the gaps. So
Will, has he made a statement
since
indicated the percentage of how much of the 20.5 will be going to football?
He hasn't officially, no.
Okay.
There's been some projections.
But what are those projections?
Projections are just that. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Like, not too complicated to say. Yeah.
Say, Will, hold up.
Yes, sir.
Isn't Ohio State's football budget by itself bigger than this settlement?
Yes.
Of course.
Oh, okay. So basically, Ohio State can just take this money. Now, I'm just talking about the Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Just follow me on this.
Yeah.
Since the football and the basketball program are the revenue producer for the university, they can take that money and allocate it to all the non-revenue producing sports, and they can continue on with those special NIL programs that y'all set up. And you know what? Nobody will be screaming at the Ohio State University, because I guarantee you the field hockey and all the rest of them, the girls traveling teams, all those other teams, they can go traveling style now at $20 million a year, and they can go traveling style, because I guarantee you that the Ohio State football team and the Ohio State basketball team, I hate to say it, but that's petty cash for them for the type of revenues that they generate.
Yeah, Ohio State on average generates $15 million per home game. Just kind of provide some perspective on the $20.5 million. So, I mean, but the $20.5, that's direct payment to the student athlete now.
Yeah, so, that's from the university.
Yeah, right. That's from the university. So
separate from the operating budget.
Yeah, separate from the operating budget. So, I mean, even that, Ohio State, yes. I mean, there's been some, and then that's, again, the creativeness of Ross Bjork to try to generate those additional funds to make sure that, and it goes up, was it 3%?
3 to 4% annually, yep.
Yeah. So that requires some creative thinking, and he's been on top of that. He's been on the forefront of that for about a year, a little more since he got here, a little more than a year now. So.
And to counter your point, AD, friends of the program are not going to spend millions of dollars on equestrian.
Yep.
They're not going to spend $1 million on rowing. They're not going to spend $1 million on tennis. There's no return on investment for that. They're not going to do that. So that part of it, a school wouldn't do that if they could. You got an example of attendance at a equestrian event, for example, of 10. Okay, why am I going to spend money on equestrian if 10 people come to the event? They're not going to do that. That's not a great return on investment. Now, the percentage, the majority.
Like, do those go back to becoming club sports?
Some folks believe yes. That's going to be, it's up to the institutions, the individual schools to determine how they're going to handle this. The best way for them to, regarding the scholarships, the roster limits, should some of these sports become club sports? And this is going to, how will this impact the Olympic sports? The sports that don't make profit? Football and men's basketball generate revenue, but as Don Staley pointed out at this past Final Four, they generate revenue, but they're not a profit. So women's basketball generates revenue, especially the big time programs, but not all of them generate a profit. Mm-hmm. Ohio State is one of the few, I think, two? Ohio State and Texas are the only two maybe that generate a profit annually from athletics, because every other school operates at a deficit. Football may generate revenue, but you got to pay for all the other sports on campus. So that cuts into.
Yeah, Chris, hold up. That's profit. What they said. It hadn't been audited. I don't take that at face value. I probably admit that maybe the top 5. I would say, you said Texas and Ohio State. It's probably not going to go no more than 5. I mean,
okay, but that's 5 out of 360.
Heck, we only we only really talking about 25 schools, 30 at best. Okay,
let's get in Division 1.
I'll tell you this: the school north of me operates in deficit. Florida State.
You talking about the one? You talking about the one in East Lansing?
Among others. Nice try, though. Nice try. Yeah. It may be June, but it's all the same.
Yeah.
But Willie, you make a good point. We're not just talking about the Power 4 schools. We're not just talking about D1. We're talking about all that are governed by the NCAA.
And the overriding thing is, or the sad irony of this, the settlement was brought on by the Power 4 schools, but the Power 4 schools are not paying all of the money for the settlement. They're making the other schools, the G5 schools, the HBCU schools, participate in this settlement amount. So that is one of the biggest crocs in hypocrisy that the smaller schools and presidents are pointing out. Well, you're the one being sued. Y'all are being sued. Y'all have all this money and you want to pay your student assets $20.5 million, but you're only footing 60% of the cost. You're making us pay the rest of the cost. We have nothing to do with the suit. So, I mean, and the Power 4, Power 2, whatever, they want autonomy. They want more and more power, but they don't want to pay more and more of the expenses. So they want their cake. We want bigger slices of the pie, the cake, whatever. Okay, then why don't you pay more of the expenses? Oh, no, we won't do that. Oh, no. See, that's why we have so much power. Because we have so much power, we're going to tell y'all that y'all have to help pay the freight. That's Division 1 athletics.
And so what's different than anything else that's going on in this country?
That's not the issue. The issue is the reality of Division 1 semi-pro sports.
Again, it goes back to my statement. What makes those two, that attitude, the SEC and the Big Ten, any different than, say, this big beautiful bill that this country is battling over right now? What makes that any different?
I didn't say it was different.
It was the same. All I'm getting to is that same mentality.
Right. And that's why folks like me, you, KP, will keep bringing this up and hammering it out there for those who don't want to bring it up, for those who are blind to reality and say, oh, no, that's not how things are. That's not the way things are. That you're just okay. You keep living in your fantasy land while all the rich keep getting richer.
Yeah.
And the middle class shrinks and the poor gets poorer and the poor has to pay for more of the stuff that rich folks want.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Okay. Before we get into the final moments, Mr. Cleveland Browns, Mr. Houston Texans, any updates on Shedeur Sanders, sir?
No, I mean, there's still OTAs. Mandatory minicamp starts on Tuesday.
Correct. Correct.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which probably means Tuesday, Wednesday, and they'll skip the last day of Thursday. So, but yeah, he's being super productive. I mean, everybody is pleased with his not only his on field but his classroom work, and that I think is not being he's not been given enough credit for that. And not only his classroom work, but the vets liking, and that's rare for a rookie. I mean, you got vet Joe Flacco. He and Joe Flacco are like peanut butter and jelly, and in those and the times you're able to see them together, and he's not the flamboyant, entitled person he's been reported to be. He's constantly in Joe Flacco's ears. Anything you need, kind of get your locker together. Typical rookie thing, but
right.
I think he's going to be fine. I mean, Dillon Gabriel for that matter as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens this week. The thing to watch for is Myles Garrett. He hasn't been in the building at all this offseason, and with the mandatory minicamp this week, because he's subject to $35,000 per day in fines if he doesn't come. Last week he was in Japan. Now that's relative. That's relative. He can jump on a jet and be back stateside in half a day. So it'll be interesting to see if he is in the building on Tuesday. So,
well, question for you. Then I'll get to CA's question for you. Hasn't Miles, or did he sign the new contract?
He did.
Okay, just making sure. Okay.
But the only thing mandatory starts on Tuesday. So yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. How do I feel about the draft class? Great. I mean, it's funny you say that, CA, because like with Kris asked me about Shedeur. I mentioned Dillon Gabriel. Yes, they're the quarterbacks, but the Browns had the 5th pick in the draft. Mason Graham is the most under-publicized 5th pick in the draft in NFL history. I would venture to say, because he's not being talked about at all, and he was our top 5 pick in the NFL draft. But he's just and quite honestly, he prefers it that way. He's just going along, putting the work in, stacking days. But the thing to watch is the running backs, rather. Quinshon Judkins from The Ohio State University and Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. They revamped the running game. Nick Chubb is more. It's pretty much a guarantee now. He won't be back. These reports that he'll be somewhere soon. But we'll see. But the running game is they did a lot of work with that in the draft as well. So I like it. I look forward to seeing what comes of it in the upcoming season.
Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
Texans update. Is CJ Stroud shoulder bad?
No, it's just sore. D'Amico Ryans assured us nothing wrong with him. I take him at his word. He hadn't thrown in OTAs like the Cleveland Browns. Houston Texans mandatory OTA starts Tuesday. They'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, and obviously that third day is not going to happen. I'll be there for both days. I have to say this, but not too complicated. Myles Garrett's been traded to the Tech for Damian Pierce and David Mills. That'd be the worst. That would be one of the worst trades in the NFL. I mean, really? That'll take Bill O'Brien off the hook so fast for that boondoggle of a trade, for what he done again for Hopkins. But no, the irony that you mentioned Myles Garrett, because Will Anderson Jr. spent a lot of time in the off season working out with Myles Garrett, and Will has been singing his praises. When we got a chance to talk to him, in the OTAs down here about a lot of the things that he's been work on, helping him refine his game and helping him to move to the next level. So, if Will has, continue on his breakout path, we'll give kudos to Mr. Myles Garrett, who, by way of Texas A&M down here. But Will, like I say, Will Anderson Jr. is singing his praise. I'm not at all worried about C.J. Stroud at this moment. We'll see. It's been a few players that have not shown up for the OTAs. We'll see exactly, because Joe Mixon had been at camp. A few other guys have not been there. I think the biggest thing in my mind, and this is just me, the biggest thing in my mind, you got one legit starter. You got a couple of guys that filled in places on that offensive line. The key is how fast can they come up with 5 guys who can become a cohesive unit and protect C.J. Stroud and open up holes and create a running game. And with a first year offensive play caller, how soon can we expect Nick Caley? And one of the questions I asked him is the fact, by being a first year play caller, how many weeks of grace does they have once the season starts before they finally put the book on him and catch up with him? So all of these are the work in progress, the things that we are looking forward to seeing. I'm gonna be looking forward to, in the next couple of days, to seeing some guys who haven't been in the off season up to this point, to see who will show up and who's not gonna show up.
Any update on Tank Dell?
Tank is progressing. Don't look for Tank Dell this year at all. If we and I don't say that dismissively. Tank had a very nasty leg injury, and it'll be this year going into next year. And I hope and pray that this young man get a chance to come back. I really do, because that injury is that bad that it's going to take him a while to come back. And I hope there's some patience with the fandom here that really appreciated the young man's game and what he's what he's overcome up until this point, to give him a chance to come back. And the Texans are looking at it, and they say his attitude is good. So, we just hope and pray that he get a chance just to come back, just to get back to step on the field or try to play again.
Final moments. Game 2 of the NBA Finals is minutes away. Kennetra, Indiana led game 1 for all of 0.3 of a second. But it was the last 0.3 of a second that counted in one game 1. What are your thoughts on that victory and game 2 tonight?
I mean, we saw the Pacers do the same thing to the Knicks. Like we've seen Tyrese Halliburton come up clutch many times in these playoffs. So, yeah.
Will they do it again tonight? Will the Pacers go up 2-0?
I don't think they'll go up 2-0, but
Will?
Yeah, I saw him do it to the Cavs too. So, I mean, man, that I'm sticking with Pacers in 6. I know you asked about tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if they go home up 2-0, because I would not be. I would not be. I mean, they went home from MSG up 2-0. They went home from Rocket Arena up 2-0. So, I mean, I'm not shocked that they do it. I mean, again, Rick Carlisle's a championship coach. I mean, he's done it. So, I mean, as bad as they played on Thursday, 20 turnovers in the first half, they still won.
Was it down 18 in the fourth?
Yeah, down 9 with 2:45 to go. This is what they do. So
yeah, but it's almost the same script as the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep. And semifinals, and they did it against Milwaukee. I watched the game. Tyrese Halliburton did it. What, game 4? Was it game 4? They were down 7 in overtime with 40 seconds to go, and they won the game. So this is what they do.
This is what they do, and I thought about, I think, Friday. For the immediate comparison, they're kind of like the Florida Gators in men's basketball in the tournament. Florida, they had to get down double digits before they got it together, and they did it throughout the tournament and won it all. I mean, the Cougs had them down double digits. Florida walked them down and won the chip. So sometimes seasons like that. In basketball and football, a team gets down by 7, 10, whatever. Okay, well, let's stop doing what we were doing because that didn't work. Let's start playing our basketball. And the Pacers have done it so far, and it's working for them. It is okay. Yeah, Bobby's a Cougar supporter. Late to the show, agree with Kennetra. I think OKC rebounds tonight. OKC can't play Pacers type of game, or they will be down 2-0. And one thing about the turnovers, especially in the first half, a good number of those were dead ball turnovers. So OKC couldn't run off a live ball turnover and score quickly in transition. They had to take the ball, bring the ball inbounds. So Indiana had a chance to set up their defense a little bit. So that helped. So dead ball turnovers are not as dangerous as live ball turnovers. The Pacers won game 1 in spite of committing 25 turnovers. But OKC only scored 11 points off those 25 turnovers. Head coaches, teams like to get a really 1-to-1 ratio, at least. For every turnover, you score a point. So OKC was minus 14 in that department. So we'll see what happens. Game 2 is minutes away. Bobby, if you missed it early, to top of tonight's show, I mentioned in the early moments of the segment that the Cougs men's team will be facing Arkansas. Arkansas is a game will be taking place at Madison Square Garden in December on a Saturday, the 3rd Saturday in December. I'm not sure about ticket sales, and I still have questions about that, honestly. I don't know. But we will see how that all comes about. It's going to be a challenging neutral site road non-conference schedule for the Cougs, and not as challenging for the home portion of the non-conference slate for the Cougs. And that will do it for all of us. I'm going to see if I learned better this time from last week in the going back and forth with everyone. But first up, let me see. Mr. Moore, you are the guest tonight. Let me see. Do I have your information with me? I don't know if I do or not. Oh, here we go. Mr. Moore. Let's see here. The world will be yours once I figure out what I want to do. Here we go. There you go, sir.
You mean it's not already?
There you go.
Now, Kris, hey, I appreciate it. KP, Will, hey, as always, particularly on a Sunday afternoon, hot as it is, it might as well just be sitting in my office, man, with the sun slowly setting in the west. But you can catch me on AdMax Korner, Twitter AD_Moore64. Instagram is AdMax Korner. I'm also on the AdMax Korner YouTube channel, and I've added Threads now as going part of the Instagram account. So follow me there. All of Texans information. Just catch me on all those particular platforms. I appreciate it and thank you for the opportunity. And as always, it is I'm extremely humble to be part of this ombudsman of outstanding minds tonight.
Mr. Gibson.
Wow. I don't know if I can follow that.
SAT words.
Yeah, ombudsman. Okay. I did not look that up when I get off. Thank you again, Kris, as always. As the crawl says, Twitter at WillGibson7. Facebook, Will Knows, IG, and Threads, Will Knows Sports.
KP?
Congratulations to my Texas Longhorns for winning their first NCAA National Softball Championship, beating the $1 million arm of Nigeri Kennedy. I think Mia Scott should have gotten MVP. No shade to Tegan Cavan, who pitched a record-breaking performance, not giving up any earned runs. But still, having been swept 2 out of the last 3 years by Oklahoma, to beat Oklahoma on the way to facing Texas Tech, congratulations and welcome.
Just because she did that, be gone, y'all. She put Hook'em on the screen. I love her to pieces, but she gonna put Hook'em on the screen. So y'all know who I am. Y'all know what I do. Bobby, you know who I am. Y'all know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wrap up the show. Thank you to everyone, Willy, ADKP, for joining the conversation tonight on episode 145 of Folks Talking Sports. Subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. I'm working on having a members section on the YouTube channel. Hope to unveil it by July 1st. The videos, these shows won't change. They'll still be free, but I'm going to have a members section for a fee. Monthly, you can opt into it. Would be some members only videos, probably some members only live stream shows as well. But as a member, you'll get that. And I'm working on with some of my sponsors having some gift cards for my members. So that'll be a perk for you becoming a member. So wrapping it up on a much more positive note than what my heart put on the screen with that thing she did. Since 1994, CA37, Complicated Bobby, Miss Wanda, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective, go Coogs. Peace.